Hi guys, it's Charles again. I have with me today Danny Jacobs. Get that right, Danny Jacobs.
Hello.
And Danny's been known for many years from school and just back in the day, and just reconnected recently. And he's got a very interesting stories, I should say, not story. And yeah, let's hear a bit more about that. Firstly, you moved to Hong Kong, and that was seemed to me quite an interesting experience. What led you to move to Hong Kong to start with?
A girl.
Really?
Yeah, a girl in the first place.
So did you meet the girl here, and then you moved to Hong Kong?
I met the girl in London, and she was on a modelling trip, so then I followed over. That was 8 years ago.
Seriously, that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved to Hong Kong, and then so what do you do in Hong Kong?
Oh, Hong Kong was an adventure. So I ended up in the party scene of Hong Kong, quite deep. So I'm kind of fast forwarding to
Yeah.
the interesting part of the
Okay.
story.
Okay.
I met a rich Chinese guy, and the Chinese guy, he took me under his wing. I initially didn't want to work for him,
Okay.
but he had a large business in entertainment. He had PR agencies, model agencies, restaurants, bars,
Wow.
property companies, a big agency,
Wow.
and he. He liked to party, so he was the cornerstone of foreigners coming in to Hong Kong. So when someone wanted to come and they wanted a good time, they would reach out to him.
Wow.
He didn't have too much patience for white people though. So,
Really?
I ended up being the one that sits in the middle when he would when he would have to meet with someone, either extremely rich people or celebrities. I would be the one that ended up going and sitting in the middle and being the one to entertain.
That must
So
be
that
interesting.
so that was the majority of my life there, which led me into a very very interesting place. There was lots of crazy parties, lots of celebrities, and lots of pretty
Any you
girls.
can mention, or like you kind not to?
Probably not worth it.
No problem. And so you also told me once in the sauna you worked in a startup type environment. How did that come about?
The sauna bit's funny.
Well, it wasn't the sauna, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was careering towards the wall very quickly. The parties really drained me.
So you were literally just going out and partying
Partying
and
5 days a
entertaining.
week. Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Some life.
So that was it was draining to say the least, and I wanted a change. And a casino owner that I knew put me into contact with a tech founder.
Okay.
And he actually turned out to be someone that I'd known before, and we'd arranged a meeting for the next day. So I went into his office, and he's a belligerent guy. He's actually quite an inspiration, as much of an asshole as he could be. Now I turned up. He said, "What the fuck are you doing in my office?" I don't know how language is.
That's
there.
fine. We're fine for that.
He said, "What the fuck are you doing in my office?" I said, "Oh, so and so put it into an email yesterday." I said, "All right. Do you want a fucking job or what?"
And this guy was also Asian, was he? Or?
So he was Asian too. We'd known each other in a friend's environment beforehand, and his business was expanding extremely quickly. So it was very focused on valuation. So at the time, he just raised $30 million,
Wow.
$200 million valuation,
Okay.
and everything was going very quickly. And he wanted to expand to London.
And
So,
what was this business that got the $30 million valuation?
so this was
funding.
mobile phones for hotels.
Oh, I stayed once on The Apprentice in K West, and they had one of these things.
That's one of our old clients. Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
There you go. I remember that. And I couldn't really work out why you'd need such a thing. Was it predating the apps being such a big thing on everyone's personal phones? Or what was the not the USP, but why was the need there for that mobile phone technology? Well, there wasn't really one.
There wasn't really one.
So you just created
it was based. I'm switching back into my old sales brain here, but you would tell people that it cut data roaming costs, which
Right.
tended to be very
Okay.
expensive. And then there was unfortunately, when you're chasing a valuation like that, you all these lies emerge. You do anything you can to sell the product. So.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a contrast in my Hong Kong life, which was actually quite genuine in a sense. People don't consider the party scene to be very genuine, and they see business as a genuine idea, something which is true. But for me, it was almost the reverse. And this this dream, this belief that you have to sacrifice everything for, and that's people are really geared towards that high growth. So along the way, it creates a lot of mess. Now, we would tell people anything to make them put these phones into the rooms.
And how many did you like? You told me it started. You were like 5th into the business, something like correct, and then you went to like 70 or 80 employees or something. Like
there was, but when I left, there was about 70 employees in London. Yeah.
Wow.
And
she said London. So did you move with the business from Hong Kong to London?
So from Hong Kong, the erratic founder said, "Well, we're opening in London. You're from London, right?" I didn't even bother to tell him Manchester was where I was from. So yeah, he said, "Well, okay, so you're going to London in 2 weeks' time." So at the end of my death knell in Hong Kong, and next thing you know, you're in London and doing this business. We did really well with it. Really well in terms of theoretical idea.
And what you just parted company after a while? You just got sick of it, or
no? So I completely sunk. The lies got the better of me. So so this is what I was talking about with the growth ideology is that you're moving really fast towards a goal, and you'll do anything to get there. So it ended up with lots of lies, and it really got the better of me, because the more lies I was saying, the worse my situation was becoming. And when lies exit your lips, it's stressful on your brain. So
you felt you were living a lie, basically, in terms of your income and what you're doing day to day.
Exactly.
And so what changed in your brain to go, right, enough's enough? What was that tipping point?
So I got very suicidal.
Really?
Yeah. Very suicidal.
Because of constantly saying things you didn't believe in, or working environment that wasn't healthy in a beach.
You can't blame the working environment.
Okay.
It was my choice to be in that position. At any point, I could have exited that.
Right.
But at my point in life, I was searching for these high tension movements, and it suited me. But I was taking a lot of drugs. I was drinking a lot. And everything was very transactional in life, so I'd lost that humanity element to myself. Then all of the lies compounded, and it got me to the brink of collapse. And then after that, so also there's external factors as well.
Okay.
So within the company, what you find is there's this self interest, and everyone deceives themselves saying, we're in this for the team. But when you look around it, all the behavior from everyone is so self-interested. It's just
individualistic.
You're completely individualistic, which I'm not against, but don't do it under the deception of someone else's ideology. If you want to be individualistic, be individualistic.
That's true.
With
your own values.
With your own values. Don't play along with personal politics, because what you're doing, you're just shifting pens around.
Yeah, I think it's Michaela from The Apprentice that was on. Her WhatsApp is something like, live your own dream or get hired to work for someone else's, something like that, which is basically what people do.
Look, for some people, it's okay to work for someone else, but I think there's a lot of deception that people have control over that situation in someone else's environment, and that it causes this political shift inside companies where people struggle for power but not for success.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that impacted upon me too. So there was lots of negativity going around for really small prizes.
So it's interesting because what you're talking about being in Hong Kong, it's like a lot of people's dream, or California or somewhere like that, where it's hustle and bustle, and you had this great lifestyle that we see with the partying and stuff, which you enjoyed, and then you got kind of sucked into someone else's ideology. But again, that's like something that myself included, people think, oh, that'd be awesome to work for someone who's got a great company valuation, and it sounds like not too good to be true. It sounds very idealistic, and then you're saying actually what actually happened there, it kind of all fell apart for you. And did the company still exist now? Is it still in existence?
It's still in existence. They made 200 staff redundant, I think.
Oh, okay.
Almost the entirety of the London office. The lies are short-lived.
Interesting.
I think when you select something, I mean, I knew full well that the guy, from first impressions, the founder of the company, he's a liar. He's a cheat. He's a con artist.
So what-
It's interesting. I watched the Fire Festival documentary.
Yes, and you saw similarities.
It was exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Even to the
Wow.
point where the company which I was working for now rebranded to a different name, just as the Fire guys did. So it was.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because that Fire Festival, I was talking to one of my best buddies about that, and I think the line between that guy pulling that off and being a genius and him being a con artist is quite thin sometimes. And actually, where it becomes apparent is execution. So the difference between the con man standing for confidence man, and an entrepreneur or someone of who can get things done and maybe is very influential, I think is the execution piece. Because if he executed that festival, if it actually came off as a good festival, you would have gone, wow, this guy's created something amazing. But obviously at points down the road, it's obvious that you need to take a U-turn or change tact. And this guy, it seems like your fellow as well, was not prepared to do so. Was prepared to keep throwing, a bit like Wolf of Wall Street, just sell anything, shove it down the throats.
So it comes down to resources as well. For me, my perspective, my principles have changed to slow progress and different values towards growth, particularly. So you look at it, and these people, they want a lot in a very short space of time. Both of the founders, they want a lot in a short space of time.
Yeah, delivering stuff.
And what was the phrase which the old founder of the company used to say is you fake it till you make it.
That's Richard Branson.
Common phrase, and
Yeah.
You either fake it till you get there or you make it, and it turns you.
I think it's very dangerous, and I think you look at Richard Branson's story, and I always say this is why I created this whole channel, because there's lots of people out there that you can read articles about from 30 years ago. Maybe back then that worked a bit, but now I think things are so more widespread. You can research things more. That fake it till you make attitude, I don't think works all that well. I like the thinking of success before you get there and kind of that slow development you're talking about. But I think the fake it till you make it catchphrase has a lot of negative connotations, particularly nowadays, where transparency and truth is really key.
So for me, fuck that. Like and you talked about thinking about the success in the future, but I reduced the success down to a daily basis.
Okay.
And I had a bit of a recovery process, but each day is a success for me because I do something that I want to do, and I try to detach myself from the money element. I'm very blessed where I have good parents who look out for me. I've got a good support group around me. So I'm thankful that I can do that. I traveled around to places where you can't do that. So I do recognize the need for some sort of hustle, but I'm in a situation now where I can do what I want. And I make my artwork, and that keeps my fulfillment high because each day is a success story.
Yeah. So do you feel successful internally at this point?
Exactly. I feel perfectly successful internally. I've not sold a piece of artwork, but I feel
That's
very,
amazing.
very successful.
That's amazing. And just to go slightly back, so all these lies compounded at some certain point in time, and then was it just a gradual decline, or was it something that happened at work that was very much, or home life that said, right, enough's enough, I feel really bad now? Or was it a gradual thing?
I was underwater for a longer period of time, but so there's this ideology that your ideas are a lot stickier than your feelings are, and you'll put up with bad feelings for the sake of a bigger idea.
Okay, I get that.
So I'm trying to recall who the book was. It was a book on happiness I read, and they did studies that people will tend to allow for bad jobs and bad situations because they have an underlying belief that they want something more. Now, I was definitely in that position. I really hated every single day, but I had this idea of sustaining this life which I was faking at the time. So I let myself go through it. And then drink carried on, and drugs carried on, and parties carried on, and that fed into my negative patterns at the time.
Okay.
And it got to a point where it was too much for me. I couldn't speak to people for a month.
Really? So did you just say to the guy, or did you just end up quitting, or what happened? Is it simple as that?
Just left.
Just left.
Yep.
That's fair enough. And then so now, I don't think you can't see because Dan can't see his pants, but he's got full of paint and in his hair somewhere as well. Yeah, have a look. Look, see, that is a life of an artist apparently. And Danny did an amazing portrait of me yesterday. You can find it on my Instagram account as well. So talk me through kind of when did you discover art? Why? And is this all related? Am I thinking to?
It's interesting because the art's given me would you say an agnostic view? It's given me an agnostic view of life, and I tend to see things more in these patterns because I've learned things about the visual world around me. What happened when I was in my real down period at work was I started drawing a lot. I was drawing on office furniture, and you can imagine how that looks to everyone in the office when I'm drawing on the windows of the office in marker pens. So I was filling sketchbooks. It's interesting because you look at...
Oh, so you were doing this concurrently with the work?
When you say doing it, it wasn't like a conscious thing. It was more that I had sketchbook. So at that point they were notepads. Everyone has a work notepad. And my work notepads, they went
doodles and stuff.
They went from words to scraps of notes, and then you just see my decline into these crazy...
Do you still have that notebook?
I mean, I've got all my notebooks, so you can see them switching over time.
That's interesting.
And I decided... So I carried on with the drawing, and I was getting up early in the morning to just draw. It was my therapy for myself because I kind of zoned out on the thinking. So the longer that I did it for, the more I realized that was really what I loved. And I'd always looked at artists in the past and read about their lives and thought these were the people who were a good template for me to follow.
Okay.
So people like Marcel Duchamp and Picasso, they were very inspirational for me for one reason or another. And the drawing got me thinking more into the art world, and it got me into this slow burn learning process where, I'm not faking anything. I'm not going to tell you a lie about my art that it's super successful now, because for me it's just what I enjoy, and that's super important to me on a day-to-day basis. Now that could have been anything. I could have gone and found golf. And I would have probably had to have balanced my life a bit better, getting a part-time job and playing golf. But the point is that belief inside of me that I found something which I loved learning was so important to my recovery process.
Yeah.
So I continued off on that path, and I started drawing more, and I learned more about it. I started painting, and the minute you put color to paper, this life comes inside you. And I continued on the path. I traveled around a bit. I went to India, I went to Africa, and it was a hard period. It was a very, very hard period. But the longer that I did the drawings, my self-confidence rose in them, and I made sure I got myself out there, and I was doing drawings in the world so people I wasn't awkward doing it around people.
Okay.
I made sure I posted one thing every day on Instagram as a way to make sure that I was doing one thing per day, and then
that's an interesting use of social media, actually, because we talk a lot about social media being very negative and not a good thing, but that's a really good use of where you're using it for your own fulfillment, not just to show off what you're doing.
Sure. So I kind of muted a lot of my friends on Instagram because
because you were embarrassed about it, or like you didn't understand it just yet?
No, I muted their content.
Oh, their content.
I actually think that the people who are going around and showing that they're on holiday and
not your vibe,
and putting their 1% of their best times on Instagram, it isn't what I like looking at. So I follow a bunch of creators who I enjoy their work of, so that it becomes more of an inspirational platform. I try and limit my time, and I put things on which are mostly to help me. It's a pretty selfish way of looking at it, but I am very individualistic now. Just it's just exactly what I want to be doing. So rather than doing it for someone else or for anyone else, I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the feedback from other people. Often if someone gives me feedback on the artwork that I do, I will do the exact opposite of that. And I did listen to a few tutorials, but I hated the tutorials because the point of art is you can create this entire world for yourself. And you look at all of the things. As soon as you're dissatisfied with something, I can go straight to paper and I can make something different.
That's interesting.
So that's really important for me, and my self-confidence has grown with it now. Everyone asks, when will you make money with it? Which I just...
My gun passed me that every day with my app. He's like, when's it going to make money? When's this YouTube
It's so annoying, isn't it?
Like, it's not about that. Like,
how do you answer?
I sometimes get a bit ratty and arsey, and now I've got to the point where I'm like, the money will come in, the money will come as a result of everything. It's not the thing I'm chasing. When I was chasing it, that's where I got my own burnout, and that's been well documented as to mental health problems I've had and different things. And now that I'm not chasing that, I still need it, and I understand the need of sustainability with money and being independent, etc. But yeah, I kind of just bat it back now, and like I give him an analogy of when his father was a painter, and I say, for you to get where you've gone from there is equivalent of me going from here to having a private plane in 10 years. as in he's done so much more, pushed the envelope so much further in his lifetime, that for me, I'm on such a great platform with my parents and my surroundings that I don't need to worry about the money right now. Like, that will come in time, and I've got that buffer. So that's how I kind of deal with it.
On the reverse side, I do go through this. I do go. So I'm in the same boat, but I do go through this argument in my head every single day about sustenance for myself, and part of me just wants to go cut off all ties from my comfort zone and go and have to hustle to make it work. But you are selling yourself, so it's difficult. It's
Life's a tough game, man.
It is. I think ultimately what I'm doing now, look, you use the resources that are around you. We've both got good supportive parents, and this you can't hide away from that fact.
No, and you should be celebratory of that fact. I was embarrassed about it, I think, at one point in time, and now I'm not.
Well, no. I mean, it doesn't help you get laid being at your parents' house.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Cheers.
I'm in the same. So, but I think ultimately it's this long-term fulfillment thing where I'm not taking a daily cheat decisions. I realize the struggle, the long path that I'm on, and as long as I keep making stuff that I like, there's other people in the world who are like me. Maybe
there are. I know plenty of them.
And I'm looking to please myself. If that pleases other people, then that becomes a transaction. And people look at things in terms of a business model. What is a business model? It's input of resource, it's a transaction in the middle, and it's an output. All art is the same as business, or business is the same as art. I'm just focusing on making something which makes me happy. If that makes other people happy, then that's cool. It's not really my end game for it. And if I am ending up in a homeless place, I'll have to go and do some manual work. And I'll be happy doing that.
That's true.
And making my art on the side, but never compromising that vision of myself.
Well, that's a lovely place to leave it, Danny. Thank you very much for your time today, and we'll see you again. Thanks, guys.